Welcome to EGF Academy. I am Dr. Geetanjali. Today's topic is reserve forest, protected forest, and deemed forest. In reserve forest, human activity is completely restricted. Like hunting, grazing, all this is banned. You cannot hunt any animal species there. Also, if any human community lives nearby such forest, they cannot even go for cattle grazing. These all things are banned here. But in the protected forest, some rights are given to communities like hunting, grazing are allowed up to some extent. The term reserve forest was used for the first time in the Indian Forest Act 1927, and Britishers had passed this act because when Britishers were present in India, they wanted to exploit the resources of India. That's why Britishers restricted all the rights of tribals over the forest under this act so that the tribals could not use any of the resources like plants, animals, or anything, so that Britishers could use these resources for their economic benefit. That's why they passed this act, Indian Forest Act 1927. So these are very restricted forests. Even after India got independence in 1947, the Indian government continued this act and said that it will keep some forest as reserve forest because some of the forests were much exploited and the species were declining there. A reserve forest is declared by the state government. The first reserve forest declared after independence was Satpura National Park, located in MP in 1981. This was our first reserve forest. The status of reserve forest can be upgraded to wildlife sanctuaries and then from wildlife sanctuaries to national park. What happens with this is that the level of protection increases. The protected forest, where the hunting and grazing is allowed to some extent, they are least protected. Reserve forests are more protected. Wildlife sanctuaries are even more protected, and national parks gets highest level of protection. That's why the status of reserve forest is increased to wildlife sanctuary, and then status of wildlife sanctuary is increased to national park. Now, deemed forest. Deemed forest is any land area where lots of trees are present and it fulfills the criteria of being a forest. But in the government document, it has not been notified as a forest. In a state, every land area is notified by the government that this area is a forest. It is notified in government documents. But there are some areas where a well developed forest is present, but that area is not notified as forest by the government. Such type of forest are called deemed forest. India's 1% of forest come under deemed. These deemed forests are not even mentioned under Forest Conservation Act of 1980. So there used to be some confusion about which area is a deemed forest and which is not. In 1996, there was a case in court, T.N. Godavaram versus Union of India. In this case, Supreme Court said which forest is deemed forest and which is not a deemed forest will be decided by the state. It is prerogative of the state, so only state has the right to declare any area as a deemed forest. Subscribe for more informational videos. You can join our affordable courses for NET, NET-JRF and UPSC. Registration link is given in the description box.